Right. Welcome everyone to the AMA with Main and Mind AI. We've got Adam representing Mind AI, and we've got the co-host Fried Goat. How are you doing today, Adam?
Yeah, I'm doing super good. I'm actually going to try to screen share as well. You guys let me know if it shows up correctly. Can you guys see?
Yeah,
The
Yeah,
that
that
screen
looks
all
share?
looks good.
perfect, bro.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, dude, I'm doing really good, man. Mind AI, I did a duo space with a buddy of mine, and since then, I think we're sitting on like I don't even know how many thousands of percentage gain since launch, but an absolutely incredible amount. People are really vibing, right, with this AI tech and this subsect in crypto. So we kind of saw this wake up a few months ago with the whole like AI meta, and then it's really making a resurgence. So I think people are really loving what they're seeing here at Mind AI. We're going to talk more about it today, obviously, but yeah, man, feeling really good.
Yeah, man. Like, obviously, we partnered with them actually before the launch. Um, Me personally was actually testing the bot probably 48 hours before the launch, and I was really, really impressed with. I'm invested in quite a few different projects like PAL and Palm AI, etc. And I've used numerous bots, and I've got to be honest. End of the day, this is probably the best one I've used. It's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people feel that same sentiment, right? The fact that this is a combination of existing, large language models, and also the fact that it's not Google dependent, which PAL tends to be. Which again, they're doing great things. I'm in projects right now that they've partnered with, that they've done extremely well with, and we talked about in that first space the fact that the way that they've done their BD work has really helped them excel, right? Being able to be, part of all these different communities and have their language model be, learning off of these different projects and kind of be customized in that way. It really led to some of their massive success. I mean, that's what I know them the most through. And, kind of following some of that same, mapping, Mind AI is also doing the same with their white label service also. So it's kind of one of those things that it's like, okay, I see the way that they're positioning this. I like the enhancements to it as well, and I think people feel the same as well.
Yeah, 100%, bro. So, do you want to just kick it off with, the basics? What is Mind AI, and what? Do you want to just give me like a brief example to people that don't know what the project's about?
Yeah, definitely. So, going high level here, right? I would love for people to follow along as well. We're doing a screen share, but go to mindaiproject.com to kind of get a little bit better view. First of all, I think the website is absolutely phenomenal. It's very clean, gets to the point quite quickly. So, understanding what you're investing in here, really, it is a system that takes AI and packages it into a very easy to use interface in TG. Now they're also going to be integrating in the web interface as well, as was mentioned in one of the recent TG pins. But having it at your fingertips in TG is absolute gold, right? We're on our phones all the time. It's what's killing our battery every single day. Why not have some utility there that makes sense, right? We're already doing that for snipers. We're already doing that for call groups we're in and so on. Why not have something that you can actually ask questions, have be your personal assistant, and also have it be customized in different ways? So this gets into the second aspect here, the custom setups. Now, if you're actually in the bot, which by the way is live, I really encourage people to check it out. You'll notice that there's actually a ton of different modes. Now, these modes span everything from being able to have, you know, uh, like a health assistant to having Kanye talk to you as a trained AI. Like it's pretty insane. It's absolutely insane, right? And it really does span the entire gamut, whether it be as it says here, financial advice, the psychological counseling, business assistance. It does all of that. And again, what really excites me is the fact that this is very B2B, packaged as well. So it can be white labeled and customized for any project, which really does help the end user as well. So it's just one of those things that I think is really interesting. Those 70 plus personalized AI interactions makes it easier because I think one of the common problems, right? when we're using AI is, how do we prompt engineer this, right? Like how do we say the right things to get the right results? And when you can have, these prepackaged AI interactions, it makes it a lot easier. It makes the conversation flow much more standardized, and you can actually get more out of it, right? That you might have not known otherwise. So that, in a kind of nutshell, is what this is about. Right now, I did want to mention some other aspects as well. Um, I did make mention that this is going to be, a web interface as well, in addition to how it is already with the TG Assistant. But also, it can do image generation, as is shown here. To actually utilize some of the premium features, you need to actually have tokens. So, as many people might know or may not know, for a lot of these AI systems, you're kind of restricted by how many tokens, how many uses you have of the actual tool, right? So some of the premium features are going to be token gated by that, and you'll be able to refill those tokens for use using, payments, right? Now those payments, that's where the rev share really kicks in, and that's going to be a big pull for holders. So that's at a high level. Obviously, we're going to dive in further, but I want people to understand that this is very much an AI system that works, that is customized in those 70 plus custom setups, something that has rev share as far as the token goes, and of course, more that we'll talk about.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. And I just want to say a quick shout out, Alan. Alan's in the house. If you want to say a quick hello.
Hello, guys. How's everything going?
Yeah,
What?
really. mate.
What's
Uh,
going
do you-
on, legend?
Yeah.
Shiny's in the house.
Tanks in the house, the legend, ladies and gentlemen, Alan the Tank Rogers.
Yeah, good. Just listening in, just catching up, guys. As one of my most bullish plays right at this minute now is Mind AI. I mean, I think it's absolutely mind blowing what it could do and the amount of utility it's got. Like so bullish, and I've got a really nice bag of it. Every time we have a dip, I'm sniping more because I think this is anything. This is going to go into the hundreds and hundreds of millions of market cap, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. People can do their own research, of course, but when you see something like this, even at this level, this is insane. The potential of this project.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, we'll move on to the next question coming off that. Adam, I was just going to say, obviously, you got quite a few competitors and they have like a lot bigger market cap than yours. But do they have more features than yours? Or, well, I personally don't think they have. But if you want to just touch on that.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's actually something that everyone should look at, right? If they're investing really in any project, but especially in utility projects, what does a landscape look like as far as competition goes? So there's four, well, including us, but three main competitors, right? We have Palm AI, Algent, ChainGPT. Of course, there's PAL as well. What really makes us stand out that some of the others don't have, just kind of filling in, some of the points that we have that they don't, is the data endpoints we have, 10 million data points, chat archiving, which none of those three that I mentioned at first have. Voice interactions, some do, ChainGPT doesn't. The voice commands are really cool, being able to interact in that way. Um, Multimodal interconnection, we're really the only one that has that. And then, of course, that rev share, right? Now, you did make the mention of the market cap comparison, right? I think that's very apt because a lot of people, and I also kind of see this as well, like to compare market caps to similar projects or ones that are, in the same category. This is so undervalued in that way. Right? So obviously it had a parabolic rise, it's zooming on up just a few days later, but it's still so much less in market cap than some of the other competitors that are known. So that being said, it does do more. It has a team that's very experienced, not to say that the other teams aren't, of course. But it does do more. It does do more. And again, it was recently made mention of in the TG of the decentralization aspect, right? It's not dependent on Google, right? So you don't need that Google authorization, which PAL does. Again, PAL's fantastic. We're not disparaging. I'm not disparaging, but I think it is cool for people that really want to embrace that decentralized aspect. So yeah, that's a little bit of the comparison. I think it really positions Mind AI in a great way. I think it's why it's getting so much attention. It's why it's spreading all over X. I'm getting notifications like effectively like every 30 minutes of new people posting about Mind AI, mentioning, that it's undervalued, just doing update posts on like when they called it and where it's at now. It's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting, but it's also not that surprising when you think about it because the AI, niche is extremely hot right now, right? It's on everyone's mind, and they've seen the success of PAL. They know that it can work in a B2B setting, but they want more, right? They want more from it. They want that rev share. They want more decentralization. There's a kind of a demand for a product that does a little bit more. So that's where Mind AI steps in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And obviously, I was going to touch on this. Like, what's your vision and, about AI and like, why do you think it's important to invest in it now? Because personally, I know that they've got the NVIDIA conference and stuff coming up. So what's your opinion on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, just AI in general, like it's one of those things that it is going to be consistent. And I think we know that, right? We kind of intuit that, but if you don't adapt it in some way in the way you work, you're going to be left behind. I mean, you're going to be okay for a bit, but then there's going to be a moment where everyone's using it and you're not, and you're going to be like, oh shit, right? So find ways to enhance, your lifestyle using it early, right? That's my opinion. And then of course, yeah, I mean, regular Web 2 businesses are going to keep using it as well. And in the crypto space, we know that we're on the bleeding edge of everything. So we see this tech emerge and, kind of flourish probably the earliest. So I think we're positioned really, really well overall on like a macro level. But I think there still are a lot of people that don't see the potential of AI. And I get that too, because some people they're like, well, I don't really need a chat assistant. But then, they try it and they're like, oh, cool. All right. Wow. This can also like give me some financial tips, perhaps. This can give me some health tips. There's a lot here. Like people actually find use with this. And
Yeah,
for me,
I've got to say, bro, I don't
yeah,
really use AI much, man. But like, when I was testing this bot, I'm addicted to it now. Like, they've got one like there's a chef bot on there, and like some of the
yeah.
main group, they were doing all like they were saying, asking how to cook like a perfect steak and all this stuff. And it's actually quite fun for the community as well to share what they've actually been. There's like psychologists on there for people that suffer with illnesses, depression, and it's just amazing, to be honest. It really is. And it's so quick, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It definitely is. And being able to have, some of those premium features token gated like that will kind of ensure its speed and scalability as well. And then it's going back to what you're saying as far as the community use. I mean, I've been part of, many communities and I actually, MC at a larger one, a DeFi project. And, they're currently using PAL, right? They're currently using PAL and they love it, right? The community absolutely loves it. So I think when I introduce this project, right, Mind AI, they're gonna be like, oh, that's cool. All right. Much lower market cap too. That's interesting, right? So again, not to disparage other projects. It's not what I do. Obviously, not being part of the team wouldn't make sense for me to do anyways. But I do like to look at the landscape, right? I do like to zoom
And
out a little
that,
bit. I like to
of
kind of
course, mate,
understand in
of
that way.
course. Of course. And I'm not being funny, bro. A lot of the people that have invested in Mind, I've still invested in, like, for example, Palm. There's quite a few whales from Palm that joined yesterday.
Yeah.
You're not putting a project down, but end of the day, it's always best to diversify in this space anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's not
Oh
like
yeah.
you're not putting another project down. You're just telling the facts. um, and people, I still hold Palm. I've still got PAL. But obviously, I just see bigger potential in. Look, this is what I say to everyone: when people come into crypto and they think they're going to get rich off Bitcoin, it's not going to happen because at the end of the day, if you want to two times your money now, it needs to go to 140,000, which it could happen, but it probably will. But to make the real money in this space, you need to find like undercover gems such as this.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, nah.
AI is so
Honestly.
young anyway, I mean, as somebody who uses AI in my work, I do a fair bit of sort of SEO work, and I use OpenAI, ChatGPT, but you never end up using just one solution. You always end up going around, different. There's hundreds of different AI solutions, and I did find that having it, all these different, you have obviously like the coding thing, you've got the chef thing, all that kind of stuff, all in one place. Saving me having to log in and do all this stuff on the web. I found it quite, really useful just to be able to go into Telegram and just use the bot.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy you guys mentioned that, right? Because it's been my experience with AI as well, right? Especially with image generation, right? I find myself, using different models, kind of fine tuning, and it's almost like having like a toolbox, right? Like you'll use one tool for one thing, you'll use another for another. Sometimes you'll get a multi-tool, and you're like, whoa, this does a lot, but I still use those other things once in a while. And then exposure, right? It is something that if you're invested in a niche, right? In a category, you probably want to diversify. It doesn't mean that, you sell all your bags of another project, but maybe you peel off a little bit, maybe you find some extra capital, to deploy it on a lower market cap play that looks like promising. Yeah, I mean, it's something that has kind of been, proven. And yeah, Scott, I love your kind of analysis there that people think they're going to get rich on Bitcoin. I mean, in the long run, yeah, probably, I'm sure, right? We all kind of feel that, but we're here for kind of those quicker gains, right? We're here for the tech. Also, when you can have a combination of both, I think you have the most fun. And you got to look for those lower market cap, projects, right? The ones that like really stand out. And since this launched, in the launch AMA, just by what I was seeing here, again, I'm not really one of those people. I don't really like to like ultra hype or do one of those things. That's just not how I do my MC work. But I like to just kind of say the facts, right? Like, what's in front of us, what tech has already been built by the project, and kind of what's the roadmap of the deploying that and being able to proliferate that and market that. So it looked very promising, and then sure enough, yeah, hey, it's promising. So but I did want to mention just some topical things as well. New since the last AMA that was had, the Whale Group is actually coming out today for those that own at least 0.5% of the Mind AI token. So just want to let people know it is getting more and more expensive to own 0.5%, as we know, as price goes up. But that Whale Group is going to be opening up today, from what I'm being told by the team.
And just touching on this, mate, with the 0.5% of supply, is this correct that obviously anyone can stake in the staking pools, but to be eligible for rev share, you also have to hold 0.5%? Is that correct?
100%, yes. And I just to circle back on that rev share, because I think it's something that we've seen in the likes of the Shield team, with the Shield raid bot, that people are very familiar with and such on. If you have something that's a hit that's used by a lot of people, it can generate a lot of revenue, especially on TG. So you probably want, to be able to be a part of that, but absolutely correct. You have to have 0.5% of total supply to be able to be eligible. And that's also why they're opening up that Whale Group, to really hear from, the biggest supporters on, how they feel basically, and any changes that they need to do that also are calibrated with the team.
No, that's amazing. It's a bit like a DAO, isn't it, really? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, they might listen to you, but they might not. But you've got more chance of having a say in the future of the project and rev share and all this. Can you just confirm one thing? Because I've had a few questions. If you're staked your 0.5%, are you still eligible to get rev share?
Oh, good question. Let me actually ask the team. That's a good question. I would assume so, because it's looking at total balance, but let me make sure, and we'll circle
I think
back.
they did say. I think they did say yes, but I just wanted to. Obviously, I just wanted to ask you, but I think they did say yes. But if you want to just double check and confirm that, we'll move on to the next question while you ask them, and you can just come back to that later. Can you just touch on the white label bot and how's that going to benefit the project? Will that create revenue share, or how will it work, mate?
Yeah, sorry, I was just typing out that question. So for the white label, I like to just again draw comparisons, right? So look at what Pal did, and I think that's a really good kind of comparison, because I've seen it myself. you're going to be able to have a customized version of the Mind AI TG bot, which again, as a reminder, it's fully operational. You can use it. You can use the different, features within it. But it'll be customized to your brand, right? So it'll kind of speak your language, in the sense of speaking your project's language, right? So it'll actually study, your documents. It'll of course be customized as far as artwork goes. It'll be effectively your version, right? Which I think is great. Now, why that's beneficial is, of course, those tokens that I mentioned to actually use some of those premium features. Well, for the most part, those are going to be going back to Mind AI holders, right? As long as you hold 0.5%. So it's one of those things like the more successful, the project is, right? As far as B2B and B2C, just through normal use, the more rev share comes in. So I get really excited about that because um, I've done a lot of BD work, and I know that once you get rolling, it's much easier to be able to get bigger and bigger and bigger names using, your tools, right? So they already had some big wins, right? They teamed up with Codex, which I know Scott, you and I both know well. They're doing their own thing over there in a unique way, which is cool. So they're getting the ball rolling, and also I didn't mention this just yet, but they're also bringing in some additional, KOLs also. So there's, already support from Crypto King, Altcoin Jordan, Alan, of course, Alan Rogers, and so on. But they're looking at more also. So with that, in my opinion, it's leverage to be able to get some of these bigger names, right? So then you can say, well, we have support from so on, and we already have a partnership with Codex, and these other projects that are kind of looking at what we're building. It makes it much easier to be able to then work a deal for a white label, and then be able to get this in the hands of more people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And obviously, I've been watching how hard the team are working, and I'm excited to, yeah, they're going to bring some great calls in. And if anyone hasn't checked, they've got over like $300,000 in the marketing wallet just after 3 days. So, they've got a lot of a big war chest for that. So yeah, do you want to just touch on the staking and how it works, like the various lockup periods, the APY, and how the team is going to intend to support this utility? Because obviously, 200% APY sounds a lot, but how are they going to support this?
Yeah, definitely. So I did want to just circle back a little bit. I'm hearing from the team. So if you have, 0.5%, you'll obviously need, well, I just learned you'll need more to be able to stake in. So that, if you have that staked in, it'll get your foot in the door, but you're going to need, more tokens to be able to stake in. So, the team will probably clarify that in case people, want to know. But I think that's a good point of clarification also, because
Sorry, what was that?
last
What does that mean?
what was that, sir?
I didn't understand that. What do you mean? Do you need more tokens? I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so they're saying, basically, I asked the question of, if you stake 0.5%, do you still need another 0.5%, to be eligible for the rev share if you're staked in, and to be able to access the whale group? And they are saying yes, as far as I'm understanding. So basically, if you wanted to, stake that in, which I think more than 25% of the supply last time I checked was actually staked in, you would need another 0.5, as I'm reading here. So just to circle back.
No, I don't think so, mate. Because I'm actually helping them with the bot that actually gates the whale group, and it counts the stakes tokens. So I'm sure that's. I don't think you need. I don't think you need extra tokens to get into the whale group. I'm not. Well, I'll double check that anyway, but I'm sure it picks up on the staking system as well. I'm not sure about the rev share, but I know because if people aren't going to stake if they can't get into groups. I'm sure that's.
Yeah,
I'll double
yeah,
check that.
yeah, I probably would, just because I'm hearing directly from, unless I'm interpreting it wrong, but they're basically saying, people, just to make it simple, people cannot receive two types of rev share. It's either the direct rev share from the proceeds of, the token sales, of course, within the bot itself, or staking. So that's why they're saying you would need that additional 0.5. But again, maybe they can clarify a little bit.
No, I didn't mean about the rev share because you mentioned the WoW group as well. Rev share might be different. You might have to hold more tokens to get the rev share. But I think for the WoW group, as long as you've got 0.5% in the staking, you can join because obviously you own 0.5% of the supply. But with the rev share, you might need more tokens. But I'm sure the WoW group picks up stakes amounts. But I'll double
Oh
check
yeah,
that and
yeah.
get.
No. That's probably correct because I thought the question was if you have 0.5% staked in, are you going to need more to be able to get the rev share? And the answer is yes. So I just wanted to make sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
I totally understand that, and what it was, you just mentioned that you need it for the WoW group as well. But yeah. So for the rev share, obviously, if you staked, you're already getting amazing rewards. So
Oh
you can
yeah.
either pick between rev share or staking. That's what you're saying.
Correct. And then going into, I just wanted to make sure to circle back there, but then going into the staking, you were kind of asking on, what are the periods? What are, the starting APY? So there's a 7, 15, 30, and 60 day. You can always check on the DApp to, kind of see the current percents, but starting APYs were 30 on the 7 day, 15 on the 50, 30 had 100, and then 60 had 200. Obviously, those are variable. But what's great is, they allocated 10% of the total supply to be able to fund those additional APYs or those initial APYs. And, a large percent of the total supply is staked in. What I really liked, it's a nice little touch, in my opinion, is in the actual TG. This just kind of shows their prowess in being able to kind of configure bots and just in general. They have a kind of like a like there's like buy bots, of course. There's a bot that specifically shows when people stake in, which I think is so cool, right? Because people get bullish when other people are excited about locking up their tokens for rewards because it builds a little bit of confidence. It shows that, the team is outreaching to new people and kind of building that trust. So I just wanted to make that mention that not only is the staking, pretty substantial, but they also have ways of kind of advertising that staking also.
Yeah, it is amazing, and I think over 28% of the supply has been staked in less than 3 days. And I actually mentioned this earlier. I think there's only 4% left on Uniswap, so
Supply shock, as it's always talked about. Supply shock.
Yeah, definitely.
Do we know how
And
much 0.5% actually is of how many tokens it is?
50, no, 5,000.
Okay,
5,000.
fair
That's what
enough.
I was saying. It's getting more and more expensive to become a whale, but I think people seize the moment too, right? Like whenever there is dips, always there's dips in any project. People are like, oh, you know what? I got that much closer to becoming a whale. I picked up another 1,000. I picked up another 500.
Yeah,
That's the cool thing with these types of systems is you can work your way up to being a whale. You don't have to start a whale, or you don't even have to, get all of your whale status at the very beginning, months later. You can kind of work up to it, which I think is really cool.
exactly. And that's like what I done this morning. I staked on the first day, and I actually withdrew my rewards this morning and actually put them back in, like compounding my rewards. And that's what I'll probably be doing every few days because I think compounding at this sort of APY, because it could change. If it's not sustainable, then they will change it, as they said. But while they're giving first movers the chance to get these amazing rewards, so I'm taking advantage of that. So I think anyone that's staking, compounding is definitely best. The only problem on ETH is obviously the gas fees. So make sure you're actually getting enough in rewards to pay the gas. That's the only problem. But yeah, do you want to just explain the tokenomics?
Yeah, I'd love to. So of course, if you guys want to see like the full breakdown, it's in the white paper. They do a great job. But going high level here, of course, the ticker symbol is MDAI. This is a ERC20 token, as you guys probably assumed. Official contract address is there. I did want to just pause there for a second and just say, make sure you're using the official contract address. This is not on, Solana. This is not on the BNB chain. It's here on ETH. So just make sure you're using the right thing. As far as the supply, it is limited, which I love to see on utility projects. 1 million in supply. Rev share, of course, we talked about. You have to own 0.5% of total supply. This is, KYC'd. We talked about the, staking and so on. But if we actually go to the white paper, hopefully this is still showing. Open the new tab, so I think it is. But yeah, here we go. So a little bit more here, as I mentioned in the white paper, it breaks it down a little bit further. Since we have it on screen here talking about the tax, it is 5 and 5. 2% on the buy goes to development, 3% towards marketing. On the sell side, same thing. So pretty even distribution there, not some crazy tax. And I am pretty bullish on tax tokens because especially if volume is strong because they're marketing effectively, you can get in a sizable war chest to be able to do some really cool things. As you mentioned, hundreds of thousands in the marketing wallet right now. That will continue to grow as the name of Mind AI, kind of permeates for a lot of people. So this is something that I think is quite cool. I'm very bullish on tax as long as the team does good stuff with it. That's the biggest thing. As long as they do something good with it. Now going down
totally
to the
agree.
actual, yeah, man. As long as they're doing something good, then bullish as hell. So going to the distribution here, right? Of those very limited amount of tokens, as we mentioned, 1 million tokens. If you look at the distro, it's really equitable here, right? So 10% for partnerships, 10% for staking, which, as you guys know, is available right now in different staking terms, and then 80% going into liquidity. So really, really fair distro. What they could have done, and I've seen this on AI tokens, unfortunately, I won't name any specifically, but team tokens, founder token, well, same thing, founder tokens, VC tokens, all this sort of stuff, like, kind of ruins a lot of the initial momentum, right? If you have millions in backing from a VC, then it doesn't really matter, I guess, but it kind of ruins some of the decentralized nature of being able to get into a really good project early on because you're ruined by tokenomics that are not meant for you. They're not meant for retail,
I totally
unfortunately.
agree, mate. I
So
totally agree. And what I
yeah,
love about this is every token is actually in circulation. Like
yeah,
they've
yeah.
got there's no vested tokens. What you see is what you get. Do you know what I mean? So obviously 80% went to Uniswap and then 10% in the staking. So that's out of supply. And I think they've got about 3.5% left, which they would use for marketing and obviously maybe staking rewards if they need it. But
Yep.
yeah, we've such a fat marketing wallet anyway. I don't think they'll be using them tokens, but who knows? But I do love this sort of tokenomics. Like you say, when you've got 5% for this, 10% for this, 10% for that, you never know when the tokens are going to unlock. But with this, like I said, you know what you're getting from the start.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, right? Like there's high conviction projects that I have that have a ton of vesting, right? It just depends on the product. It really depends on the product. But when you're making a name for yourself and you're going the decentralized route, as a stealth, you have to have tokenomics that speak to the people. And I'll let the community decide, obviously, but these are tokenomics that are very well meshed to getting people on board and also having them understand the potential here as far as market cap and utility. So I just want to circle back just one more time just to kind of mention the fact that in case people don't know or maybe they just joined in, this is fully working, guys. Like you can use the bot right now, which is really cool.
Just
And
I'll
those
put a
70,
link. I'll put a
yeah,
link into
please,
the
yeah.
Telegram. I've done it earlier. So if anyone wants to test the bot, I think let me just double check. I'm sure I'll put it in there. Yeah, it's the last message in the main group. So all you do, click that link, and you can actually test the bot free of charge. Obviously, you can't use the premium features, but knock yourself out because honestly, it's amazing, and I've had some right fun with it, to be honest.
I think that's the difference when you've got something demonstratively available. You were talking about the initial AI boom in crypto. I remember that was a lot of projects there were saying, they were using AI technology in some way, but there was no sort of demonstrable proof that it was, that was the case. Obviously now it's a lot different. AI has evolved. But yeah, just having something that you can test and see and, actually use makes a huge difference. And the product's great,
Yeah, I think a lot of people, right, they're kind of sick of just being sold a white paper, which I totally get, right? And hey, sometimes the white paper pays off and the team is just building and it ends up being like crazy cool. But I think we're in a space now, coming into this bull market, people are getting excited, new people are coming in. It's kind of a great place for new buyers when it comes to, the market we're in because let's be honest, the investors that managed to survive through through the winter, right? The crypto winter, they're like seasoned veterans, right? Like they've been through everything. They've been rugged 1,001 times, unfortunately. They've been sold, an empty box 1,000 times. People know what to look for, which is great. And utility, especially if you're a utility project, is key. And being able to showcase at least some of it is really, something that I push for a bunch, right? It's not news to probably a lot of people that know me that, I do this professionally, right? And anytime I'm consulting with a project, my first thing is, when do you have a demo? When do you have a demo of this, right? When
I,
can
I,
people touch this?
I
So
totally
it's a
agree,
it's a
mate.
big deal.
I try and not touch any projects now unless the bots or utilities actually like near enough done. Because at the end of the day, you know what it's like. The hype on the launch is all well and good, but if you've got nothing to show within the next, a few days, people get bored and move on to the next thing. So that's why I love this launch. Literally, they launched, and an hour later, staking went live. The bot was already live, so they had everything to show for, and I think that's why it's done so well. I think this has been one of the best launches this year, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would agree with that. I definitely shared it with some of my group as well. I said, "Hey, man, I told you that I was doing, a VC for these guys a couple days ago. I hope you caught that. I hope you, maybe made a decision on to buy or not, because it's been doing, crazy numbers. Now, again, that's to say, obviously, I'm not on the team. I'm not some like huge KOL or anything, but I like to tell friends about, things that I'm doing in this space and projects I kind of have my eye on. And when I saw a working product, I was like, okay, that doesn't make me blind FOMO, but it makes me kind of interested. And then from there, you kind of, go through your checklist, which, by the way, a quick shout out to everyone in the community. Thank you guys for coming in too. I know we're not done here, but I just wanted to say, thank you for taking the time. Here it's quite early in the morning, so I don't know where you guys are, but wherever it is, you're taking time out of your day. I just wanted to say this for everyone listening in. Um, you know, take the next couple of months, especially as we really start to get into, the fullness of this bull market, and build out your checklist. Like, find out what your checklist is as far as a project. Like, is it a working product? There probably should be. If it's a utility, if it's a meme, doesn't obviously need a working product, it needs to be a meme. What is the marketing? Are the tokenomics sound, or am I going to get wrecked by unlocked tokens 3 weeks from now? Or, what is that, right? So build out that checklist. That is the biggest tip that I give every single person who is new to the space or just kind of coming back online. Build that checklist, have it be, kind of refined through the conversations you have with friends, through the AMAs you join, through otherwise. Start to, refine that, and you're gonna find much better projects, right? You're gonna invest in much better projects. So just wanted to kind of give that high level mention.
Yeah,
You
that's
touched on marketing there, and I just sort of wondered. Obviously, it was a great launch. Market cap at the moment's incredible. It's doing so well. But roughly, what's their sort of marketing strategy going forward?
Yeah, it's kind of two-prong, right? So a lot of the traditional marketing, activities that you would see in a crypto token, right? Getting on the top KOLs, getting Twitter trending, Dex tools trending, having publications, especially with it being AI related, like publications can actually do pretty well. So those are kind of like the mainstream stuff that, like, okay, you want to see that in a project, and they're doing those, which is good. Something that I think they can leverage, and they are obviously doing it already with their first partnership, is partnerships. Being able to pull that lever is extremely powerful, because what that does, especially if you're doing, your business development work correctly, is you're marketing to groups that are either much larger than you, have a product that is, vastly different than you, but has good utility, or whatever other criteria teams use, but those are usually, the main two. If you do it successfully, you're getting a ton of new people that feel confident in this project, at least to look into it. Because you have to think, right, like, when you partner with a project, it's pretty serious. People don't realize that, like, it's pretty serious, because what you're saying is, as a project, this team puts its stamp on that team. And it's not saying go and buy their token necessarily, but it's saying we like them, we feel confident enough to associate our name with them. So it builds a little bit of unity. And through that, right, you get people who kind of move over and say, okay, what's going on over here? Let me join the TG. Let me see what it's all about. Let me try the bot, right? So partnerships for me are very low cost and they can be extremely effective. So I would say those two areas are going to be the main focus points: traditional marketing, crypto marketing, and then partnerships. And nested within partnerships, B2B, right? Being able to say, hey, we're really happy you guys are partners. Would you be interested in a white label? Do you have a friend that's interested in a white label? And those can really ripple and ripple and ripple to where now you have, instead of ones and twos joining, every hour or even every 30 minutes, you're having, hundreds, throughout the day joining in and wondering what's going on here. Why did my token partner up with this, and kind of discovering from there. So, yeah, really big on partnerships personally. And I love that the team is also interested in that.
Yeah, and to be honest, in my opinion, it's cheap marketing as well because you're doing it together. Like, so for example,
Yeah.
when like they charge people to put their bot into their room,
Yep.
and then they're getting the exposure as well. So that's exactly what Mind AI could do. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, I mean, that's from what I've understood from the team, that's kind of the idea, right? Is in doing those white labels outside, like, sort of partners that they feel really strongly.
Yeah. So we were speaking about partnerships. Do you want to touch on what your opinion is on partnering, Adam?
Yeah, so just in general, right? When it comes to partnerships, it's probably the most effective lever that you can pull at the least amount of cost. And it's one of those things too that it creates more of a long-term bond between projects versus kind of flash in the pan, which you'll tend to see with, lower to medium, reach influencers, is like you're not really going to get much of a, kind of buy-in. They're there just for, to get paid, right? They'll call you and then you'll never hear from them again. Whereas a true partnership, I think, partnering with projects does that. And it's all about follow-up too.
Like with mine, bro. End of the day,
Yeah.
when we not many people like Coles. You pay them, and literally they're there for a few tweets, then they're gone. Whereas like, look what we've done with Codex. We're still supporting them now. All my
Yeah.
tokens are staked in Codex. I've staked all my tokens in Mind AI. I think you get different sort of partnerships, don't you? Some pay off, some don't. But I totally get what you're saying. It's all about finding the right partnerships and working together. And like I always say to you, Adam, like we do a lot of spaces together. And honestly, I love you to bits. I think you're an amazing guy. But what I always say is like teamwork makes dreams work. Do you know what I mean? So, obviously you guys have got competition because you are against different projects. Where as Maine, we allow any project to come into us, so it's easier for us. But obviously, I do really respect how the way your community go about because I was watching last night and you had like Palm AI whales in there and they were all like
Mhm.
getting on with each other and stuff. And I think that's really important that you can have two projects with the same sort of goal but not arguing. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think it just kind of goes to understanding where the investor is, right? People want to be diversified, as we kind of started talking about in the first segment, right? People want to feel like they're diversified, but people also like different tools for different things, right? So I think the discovery is going to continue for Mind AI, and as more people discover it, they're going to say, oh, like this has a really like wide reach. It's using some of the newest, large language models, and it's genuinely useful for me. And with knowing that, they're like, okay, well, huh, how does that mesh to more mainstream adoption? How does that then look as far as revenue goes? And is this something that I want exposure to? Right? Do I want to be able to have a say in the future of the project? Do I want to be able to, earn some revenue? Do I want to be able to stake in, especially early on, and earn, some great APYs? Those are all kind of factors that kind of go in the investor's mind. And personally from the outside in, not being on the team, so I'm a little bit slightly unbiased here in a way. I think the team has done an excellent job, right, in being able to execute on those 3 pillars. But of course, there's still a lot of work to do, which kind of goes into the roadmap. Now, because TG rugged us there, and I worry it might be like a data thing. Maybe their servers are overloaded or something. I don't want to risk doing a screen share again, and then maybe the TG shuts down. So, if it's okay with you, Scott, I'd love to go over on some of the high levels on the roadmap. If that sounds good.
Yeah, of course. I just want to quickly. I'm watching the chat because I'm actually waiting for more dips, and I've just literally seen the chart. It went down to about 5 million. I was just about to buy. It's gone back up to 7 million.
Oh man, yeah, it's like those like little flash moments, right, where you're like, oh shit, like damn it.
It's insane, man. Every single dip is just getting eaten. It's insane.
Yeah, but also and you've seen it too, like on high conviction projects that actually do something, that happens. I mean, like people are waiting for their opportunities. They'll stay real quiet and just watch, and then when the opportunity arises, they strike. So
Yeah.
it's cool to see that. It shows resilience of the community. It shows that there's a lot of attention on it, and obviously there's more partnerships to come. I've been told by the team that they're working on some more AMAs also, so it's quite exciting. But no, thank you for making that mention too. So just some quick points. I know we're coming kind of to the end here, but we've covered definitely a lot. I just wanted to go over Q1 running through really the bulk of Q2 and kind of what to expect, right? So obviously Q1 was a lot of the formation, a lot of the let's get this ready so we can grow type of work, right? So being able to have the chatbot actually be in its current form, building out those 70 plus custom setups, basically having it be ready for a very powerful stealth launch. Now, part of that as well means that they had to KYC and get an audit, which you can find on the website. Encourage people to check those out. And then, of course, the actual launch on Uniswap, which stealth not too long ago, and obviously has done quite well. Now, going into the end of Q1 into Q2, this really comes into being able to offer some of what people are really excited about, right? So the staking DApp was actually ahead of schedule, so that's already come out, of course. Additional partnerships are on the roadmap to be able to get more partnerships, as we talked about it being very important, of course. It recently got listed on some of the biggest token tracker websites, as we've seen in the TG. They're looking to do some Tau BitTensor integrations. They're looking to have a little bit more comprehensive on-chain data as far as that dashboard views go. And then, of course, milestones as far as token holder counts of 5,000 and being able to introduce the web application interface instead of just the TG one. Some people feel more comfortable in a web browser. Others feel more comfortable in TG. I'm more the TG guy, but I get both sides. Going into Q2, this is where I would say the real spread of the project kind of begins, as far as like more mainstream adoption, right? Being able to have really high caliber ambassadors on YouTube, Telegram, TG, TG, Twitter, TikTok, the like, and then being able to also offer plugins, which I think is really cool, right? Because if you look at some of the services out there, the AI services OpenAI has and otherwise, plugins are really cool and they can really like enhance what was already a very useful AI system. So to see that they're looking at that as well is quite exciting. Also allowing for fiat payments for the basically pay to play system, the token system, is great. They're looking to offer even more fiat on ramp options, having additional audits as well to kind of build out security, and also integrating multi chain in a more powerful way. I think could be really cool. And we talked about the white label program, right? It's not something that out of the gate they're saying, hey, like let's start throwing white labels everywhere, but it's something that they've been cultivating and working on. And I can say if it's anything like the product that's been built out thus far that you can use, the white labels are probably going to be pretty good. I mean, it took Pal, a little bit of time to get that ready. They obviously want to take a little bit of time to do this as well, but we're talking, matters of weeks, not many months. But being able to have a really high quality white label system, I think is absolute gold there. So also they are looking to build out to have the subscription program actually be in the Mind AI tokens eventually. So if you're looking for additional utility in addition to that rev that we talked about and the ability to vote in the hybrid DAO, might be something to look forward to. It's pretty cool. And the fact that those tokens will then be used in either being burned or being injected into additional staking rewards means that increased scarcity and or additional rewards in the staking pools, which are already being used like crazy. So of course there's a few more there as well, but I don't want to go ad nauseum here. But a very succinct roadmap that is very focused on partnerships, focused on further developments, and just kind of focused on having this become much more mainstream than it already is. So I think the future is pretty bright in that sense. I always like to give little challenges to the team. That's just kind of something I like to do. So my challenge to this team is, you have a fantastic community here. You've cultivated something extremely special. Continue to just push the needle when it comes to partnerships. Focus aggressively on partnerships, and this will grow exponentially, much, much higher than it is, as long as you get the right people on board as far as partners go, and you continue to deliver on the product. And I think people will really like that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's the same with us, bro. Like the more partners that we bring on, the more we grow. I've met a lot of people through Mind AI, and that's how it works. You know what I mean? I know we're coming up to the hour now, but I just want to quickly touch on one quick thing, which I was actually speaking to the main community about. What I love about obviously the bot is I know a few people. Douglas has actually just joined. He pays like £20 or $20 a month to use like the AI chat GPT. Your bot, you can actually get, I think it works out $4 or $5 a month to use the pro version, which is actually for version 4, isn't it? So
Yeah.
people can actually subscribe to your AI for cheaper than the actual running cost. You know what I mean? So I think that's worth mentioning.
No, it definitely is. It definitely is. And we kind of threaded a little bit of a teaser there, right? Thank you, Scott, for that mention. Because I want people to explore it, right? I want people to explore it. I want them to draw their own parallels and kind of understand. But yeah, it's a pretty cost-effective way to get access to, a good amount of tokens for use. And also knowing that, of course, there's rev share associated, and then to be able to get access to that rev share, you need to own the core token here. Like it lets you even before you get into the token, if you really want to, if you kind of want to test out the product first, like buy a token pack, right? We're talking tokens in the actual bot. Try it out, and if it impresses you, that might be what you need to be able to consider investing or otherwise. So but I do like that mention too of it's very cost effective, especially if you're already paying for an AI system.
Yeah, 100%. The funny thing about crypto is people have got no issue putting 10 grand into like a token, but when they see you have to pay for a subscription,
It's
people
so
don't.
funny. It's so
It's
funny.
mad,
Well,
isn't it?
yeah, no, it is, but it also applies to the real world too. Like in the sense of like, if you go to the grocery store and you see something's, $20 when the normal product of it is, like 5, but this is like a premium organic, whatever, you're like, oh, I don't know, 20, but like it's a lot of money, but then we're like, aping in $500,000 and like, random meme coins and stuff. Um, so,
Totally
but
agree, man.
I get both sides of it, right? Because like, especially with consumables, like they're gone after you use them, right? So like, if you're buying like a really expensive meal or something, like after that hour, after that 2 hours, like it's gone, and you never, it's gone, right? Whereas with a meme coin or especially a utility project like this, you own it, right? Like it's yours. So like, I get it at the same time, but
Yeah,
it is pretty funny. I fall into the same trap a lot.
I do as well, to be fair, mate. Like, at the end of that, I'd invest into crypto, but then, I hate going out and spending money on myself, like clothes and stuff. But so I totally get it. But yeah, it's been amazing, mate, to be honest. And I just want to say thank you to everyone that's joined, and I'm sure we'll do quite a few more of these. We'll probably do one on like X as well. I just thought we'd
Yeah.
try it in Telegram for once. But yeah, as usual, you've been an amazing host, bro. And Goat, do you want to say any words?
Yeah, just thanks to Adam. It's been very insightful learning more about Mind AI. it's an awesome product. I'm really excited about where this can go. I got some tokens. Scott said, "Look, hey, have a look at this project." So I was like, "Okay." Yeah, I got a few tokens. So yeah, really excited about it. You know, the chart looks absolutely incredible at the moment. But yeah, just say thanks very much, Adam.
Hey, thank you guys. I mean, you know, Scott, we're no stranger to each other, obviously. So it's just excellent to, you know, reconnect, especially like it seems to be every time we connect, it's a banger project. Like it's kind of nuts. So I guess it's a good thing, right? But to be able to see this work
definitely.
in such an incredible way, like is just powerful. So I just wanted to say just a quick shout out to everyone again who listened in, especially after TG seemingly just shut down everything and then let us start it again. You know, thank you for rejoining, of course. We covered on the second half some mentions around, you know, partnerships. We also did a circle back to what, you know, is coming forward. You know, as we progress into the quarters. And just to mention for people that maybe joined in, you know, much later, the Whale Group is opening today. You do have to own 0.5% of the supply. Stay tuned in the pin messages in the main group for further updates, obviously. But this was a great high level, man. This was so awesome. So thank you again. And I'm sure we'll be on spaces soon. We'll be crossing paths again soon.
Yeah, apologies for the technical issues. What I'll try and do is I'll try and splice together the two halves, and then we'll post it out.
Awesome. Yeah, no, don't apologize for anything, man. Sometimes the infrastructure breaks, and TG's getting too much attention now with the bull market, man. They need to scale up their servers, so but we
Yeah,
make
for
it work.
sure.
Nah, thanks a lot to everyone that joins, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thanks, Scott. Thanks, guys.